each one using exponents. K times K times K times K, there's 4 of them there, so that would be K to the 4th. M times M times M times N. Well, if we put them in alphabetical order, the M would go first. There's 2 of them, so M squared, N squared. And here we have 2 to the 4th power. So the exponent rule we're going to learn today is multiplication. So if you are multiplying with the same base, like here we did, they're all 2's, the rule is when you multiply, you add the exponents. So this would be 2 to the first, 2 to the first, 2 to the first, 2 to the first. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. But we're going to have stuff like x to the 7th times x to the 3rd, which you just do 7 plus 3 gives you x to the 10th. It's not too bad, right? But we're going to mix in some tougher stuff with it. But that is the general idea here. So 3 times 3 to the 3rd, there's an exponent on this first 3. It's invisible. You can't even see it. Whoa. So 3 to the 1st times 3 to the 3rd, you add the exponents. 1 plus 3 is 4, so it's 3 to the 4th power. You don't change the 3 at all. A lot of people want to multiply 3 and 3 and make it 9 to the 4th power. It's not. Another way you can think of it is 3 is 3 times 3 to the 3rd would be 3 times 3 times 3. Now if you look, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, there's 4 3's in it. Right? And this all comes out to 81, which is 3 to the 4th power. But we're just simplifying with exponents there. A to the 5th times A to the 1st times B to the 2nd. You can only add the exponents when it's the same base, so we can do it with the A's. And again, if the rule's not there for you yet, then write it out. A to the 5th, just write 5 A's. Times A to the 1st, that's another A. Times B squared is B times B. But it's going to be faster if you can just remember the rules. So 5 plus 1 would give us A to the 6th times B squared. We can't combine them if they're different bases. So that would be our final answer. Let's try out 3 more here. 2 squared times 2 to the 3rd. They both have the same base, so we just add the exponents. 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 to the 5th. M to the 5th times M to the 7th. They're both M's. 5 plus 7 is 12. Here we can combine the x's. 2 plus 3 is 5. We can combine the y's. 1 plus 4 is 5. The most common mistake I see there is people forget that y is y to the 1st power. So be careful. Now we're going to bring in some more multiplication. Negative 2x squared times 3x to the 5th. And you're like, oh, negative 2 and 3 are not the same base. Let's remember the commutative property, which means it doesn't matter the order that you multiply in. So if we were to stretch this out just slightly, negative 2x squared would be negative 2 times x squared times 3 times x to the 5th. Multiply what you can. X squared times x to the 5th, we add the exponents, that becomes x to the 7th. If you just had a problem that said negative 2 times 3, you can do that. Just multiply them like normal numbers. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. So if there are numbers out in front, you have the coefficients, just multiply them like normal, and then add the exponents of the like bases. So 6a to the 3rd times 3a. The numbers out in front, just multiply them like normal. 6 times 3 is 18. A to the 3rd times a, or a to the 1st, would be a to the 4th. Multiply the numbers out front and add the exponents. You know the song. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. C squared times c to the 7th is c to the 9th. Yes! Numbers in front are 4 times 3, which is 12. X squared times x to the 4th gives you that x to the 6th. Yes! All right, we got another property now. When you raise a power to a power, which looks something like this. Look at a here. 3 to the 2nd raised to the 3rd. When something is to the 3rd power, it means times itself 3 times. So this technically means 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared. Which if you use our rule we just did, we would add these exponents and it would be 3 to the 6th, which is the correct answer. How else can you get 6 with 2 and 3? You multiply them. So that's the rule. When you raise power to a power, you just multiply the exponents. So this would be 3 to the 2 times 3rd power. 2 times 3 is 6. Same answer. Power to a power, you multiply the exponents. So here, 6 times 2 is 12. And that's it. It's not bad. Don't tell me that's bad. That's not bad. 2 to the 4th raised to the 2nd. Just multiply the exponents. 4 times 2 is 8. Or if you can't remember that rule, if it's squared, that means times itself. 2 to the 4th times 2 to the 4th, which would also get you 2 to the 8th. C to the 5th raised to the 4th. 5 times 4 is 20. And the reason I would like you to just memorize the property instead of trying to stretch it out is if you had something like this, x squared to the 100th power, you don't want to write x squared 100 times. You can just do 2 times 100, which would give you 200, right? Man, that's way faster. M to the 3rd raised to the 2nd power, 3 times 2 is 6. That wasn't even half bad today.